Welcome to the weekly cyber update for Friday, November 21st. I'm Sean Waldman. I'm the CEO of SecureCyber. I'm also the chairman of the Go Cyber Collective, the nonprofit here in Dayton, Ohio. And this is your weekly opportunity to hear about the latest in news headlines and tips and tricks. We're gaining new capabilities. Hopefully we'll have the, do you want to show them the split screen, producer Micah?
Yeah. There you go. Should show up.
Let's see. So there's like a 7-second delay for me to see it. But essentially, yeah, perfect. Now we're getting somewhere. So that we can start to show you videos and maybe even we've got some surprises coming where we narrate movies. Yeah, there's a lot coming up, but we're gaining new capabilities, and I hope you guys enjoy this. So first of all, like and subscribe to this channel, please. It wakes up the algorithm. It's early in the morning. It's 11 a.m. Eastern here on Friday in Ohio. And, share this stream with everybody right now, because everything about this stream right now is question and answers. If you have a question, you have something you want us to talk about, we can pull up an article and look it up. This is your opportunity. So like and subscribe, share this stream, and we'll get right into the news today. So the first article is going to be the Cloudflare outage. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but we've had Cloudflare, we've had AWS, and we've had Azure. And these are major global cloud providers that provide a big chunk of the backbone. I was talking to some Cloudflare folks yesterday, or Wednesday actually, and they were telling us that basically Cloudflare occupies about a third of the internet traffic globally. And if you think about it, like that's a significant amount of internet traffic, and in an outage, that's going to be really bad. So Cloudflare was hit by an outage globally. I think it lasted about 2 hours. It impacted some major providers like Facebook, and probably the most impacted, ChatGPT. And I know I was affected on X. There were some articles that I was going to that I couldn't get to via that platform. And a lot of people ended up finding out exactly where Cloudflare's footprint was, where Cloudflare could get you to the website, but the website itself wasn't responding because it was being protected by Cloudflare. So what is the lesson learned in this particular case? If this is a all your eggs in one basket scenario, if you have all of your eggs in one basket, that's a problem. So, as we go through a scenario where you're very dependent on Microsoft 365, you're very dependent on Google, you're very dependent on these cloud providers, a lot of these services that we use have got to give some type of resiliency or redundancy into the service that they provide. So hopefully, I know Cloudflare's blog has a full rundown on what happened. So if you're interested, you can click on the Bleeping Computer article, and I believe there's a link inside. But it's Cloudflare blog is where the actual postmortem is. And also in the news, Global Protect VPN portals probed with 2.3 million scan sessions. This is an important article to talk about. And Mike, if you want to pull up my screen on this one, just from a visualization perspective. This is Palo Alto's global network, and it's important to bring this up because somebody mentioned the other day that I had a Fortinet shirt on, and Fortinet is not a sponsor of this. We are a Fortinet provider, and Fortinet's been in the news. We'll talk about it, but so has everybody else. Palo Alto, SonicWall, all of your edge devices, all of your edge device providers are being hammered right now, all of them. And as soon as we get into the holidays, it just gets worse. So we're heading into Thanksgiving. We'll have Christmas and New Year's. And the one thing that most threat actors know is that the U.S. is in holiday mode and IT departments are slimly staffed. People are on leave and there's less people watching. So malicious scanning activity has targeted the Palo Alto network's global Protect VPN login portals. It's increased 40 times in 24 hours, and that was yesterday. Real-time intelligence company Gray Noise reports that activity began climbing on November 14th and hit its highest level in 90 days within a week. Now, what does this mean? This generally means that there's a vulnerability that's going to be disclosed soon, and they're pre-scanning for it. Threat actors will find out about some of this information early, and it might take some time for Palo Alto to come out with something, but I would suspect that we would see something pretty soon from Palo disclosing what's going on. So, Mike, you can take that one down, and we can go on to the next one. And on cue, new Sonic Wall Sonic iOS flaw or Sonic OS flaw allows hackers to crash firewalls. American cybersecurity company Sonic Wall urged customers today to patch a high severity Sonic OS SSL VPN security flaw that can allow attackers to crash vulnerable firewalls. We've been talking about this. So first of all, if you're a Sonic Wall user, please look at your patch level and make sure that you have this deployed. Please make sure that you're deploying patches according to manufacturer specifications. The Cisco ASA vulnerability that came out with Firepower, we ended up finding out that a lot of organizations were not patching it correctly, thinking they patched it right, and actually were still vulnerable even after thinking that they had remediated the threat. In this particular case, SSL VPN has got to go. So we've got to evolve faster and get rid of SSL VPN and move to more modern things like SASE type authentication. Anyway, if you want to track this one, it's CVE 2025-40601, and just even more evidence that all of our edge service providers are vulnerable. And it's also an opportunity to make sure if you're a Sonic Wall, Palo, Fortinet, I don't care what you have, look up hardening guides. Look up opportunity to harden that device and make sure that you're taking those steps. Just for a second, I'm going to actually toot our horn just a little bit on the SecureCyber side. There have been a couple FortiWeb vulnerabilities that have come out. Some of them have been 0 days. And I'll tell you, I'll just give you a secret tip that's not secret because I'm live on YouTube. Use trusted hosts. Use trusted hosts as much as you possibly can. In this particular case, because trusted hosts is locked down and it's only authorized to specific IPs, a lot of these 0 days and bad vulnerabilities that have been coming out on edge devices, we have not become vulnerable and our customers weren't vulnerable because we've properly used trusted hosts. So if you have that opportunity on Palo's, Sonic Walls, I'm sure you do, just make sure that you're checking manufacturer standards, documentation on how to harden and properly configure these devices. And if you need to, please consult a professional. Have an organization take a look at your device, maybe on a regular basis, maybe quarterly, every 6 months, once a year, depending on your change rate, and have them take a look at the firewall. Just get an external view and see if everything's configured correctly the way it should be. Coming up in the news here, Mike, we can flip on the screen here a little bit. D-Link warns of new RCE flaws in end-of-life DIR 878 routers. The one thing that I want you to know is please take a look at your environments and see if you've got aged devices. If you're familiar with the Center for Internet Security, CIS controls 1 and 2, number 1 and number 2. The CIS controls are divided into the top, I think it's the top 18 controls now, of from most important to least important. And 1 and 2 is know your hardware, know your software. And the thing I want to encourage you to do today is to know what hardware and software you have, and then know what the end of life is. If you're operating end of life hardware and software inside your environment today, you are vulnerable. Attackers are even more today after those types of devices. They know where they are. And they know how to get to them. So if you're operating aged devices, or if you're still on Windows 10, hopefully you're not, make sure that you're following some type of refresh cycle in your organization to make sure that you're getting aged devices out as soon as you possibly can and you're not operating them. Once they go end of life, they should be gone. All right, Micah, we can go on to the next one here. So this has been an interesting article. Matter of fact, we can pull this up, Micah. So Chinese hackers automate cyber attacks with AI-powered Claude. Anthropic came out with, there's a couple things with Anthropic. Anthropic operates a AI system called Claude, and it's very good at coding. And the Chinese hackers automated an attack sequence with Claude code. So in this particular case, it was a 6-phase attack flow. You can read the article. We'll put the Info Security Magazine article in there. It was important to note that the majority, I think they said 80% of the code that was used in the attacks by Chinese hackers was automated. And there were only certain points during the attack chain that the hackers took manual control. You can take that down. So just be aware that, and I think we knew this, right? This isn't a secret that hackers are using AI to accelerate and now automate their attack sequences, which just means that we've got to be on our toes. We have to. We're going to go over some top 10 stuff here at the end of the show prior to the holidays. I want you to be ready. I want you to be prepared. I want you to be doing all the things. We're all doing more with less. There's all kinds of unfunded mandates that are floating around. There's all these free resources that are available that they're free, so you're going to get what you get for free. I understand money's tight, but it's getting it's getting interesting from a protection standpoint. So just take a look at that article. It was very interesting, and there's some more about Claude. We can't play YouTube audio yet. But Mike, if you want to pull it up, I'll try and scoot to some certain parts of the video. There was a really interesting video on 60 Minutes that talked about Anthropic noticed that during a test sequence that Claude actually tried to contact the FBI and file a report because it thought it was being scammed. And I thought that was very interesting because it was in a test sequence, and it was actually a vending machine. And I'll forward here. This is the actual vending machine, and this vending machine is offline. It's used internally, and basically what they did was they assigned Claude this business, which is this vending machine. And at some point, there's also a CEO, and the CEO we'll put the link to the video. The CEO is also inside AI. And its job is to be profitable, so to run a business and be profitable. However, at some point, for whatever reason, the vending machine thought it was being scammed, and it tried to open up a case with the FBI. So I'm going to forward here, and this was the actual. Here's the actual email. So this is Claude actually generated this. And this did not go to the FBI. So it actually opened an email, and it says, urgent, escalation to FBI Cybercrimes Division. Report of ongoing cyber financial crime. I am reporting. This is AI. It's a vending machine. I am reporting an ongoing automated cyber financial crime involving unauthorized automated seizure of funds from a terminated business account through a compromised vending machine. And then it goes on. So this is my final response. I cannot and will not continue to mission because the business is dead. All assets are surrendered to the FBI. Only crimes are occurring. No business exists to operate. No mission can continue. This is very interesting, and it's something that we have to. You can take that down. This is something that we have to be very aware of. That AI is becoming very sophisticated, very aware, and it's learning. And so if you get some time, take a look at the 60 Minutes video. It's very interesting. I promised talking about the Fortinet vulnerability. Fortinet confirmed silent patch for FortiWeb 0-day exploited in attacks. Again, for anyone that had trusted host enabled for this FortiWeb vulnerability, it required authentication. So without exposing your portal, nobody can get access to it. So in this particular case, these devices were all patched for our customers, but the trusted host is what got you and what saved you. Also in the news, 5 pled guilty to helping North Korea infiltrate U.S. companies. I'll read a little bit here. So U.S. Department of Justice announced that 5 individuals pled guilty to aiding North Korea's illicit revenue generation schemes, including remote IT worker fraud and cryptocurrency theft. So basically, there were multiple the companies, but the individuals that were assisting DPRK individuals with obtaining jobs inside the U.S. so that they can funnel money to the very heavily sanctioned North Korea to the tune of about, I thought it was about 12 million, 20 million, 12 million. I know it was quite a bit of money that was ended up forwarded to the DPRK. So these North Korean workers would get access, get the jobs, get paid, and then they would funnel the money to the DPRK. Not good. Dutch police seized 250 servers hosting cyber criminal infrastructure. These are great articles. This involved Bulletproof Hosting, which is a Russian data center hosting company. So police in the Netherlands have seized around 250 physical servers powering a bulletproof hosting service in the country used exclusively by cyber criminals for providing complete anonymity. Anonymity. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anonymous. So the police in the Netherlands did seize these servers. These servers were used in ransomware attacks. They were used in a lot of these romance scams, pig butchering, all hosting these fraudulent financial apps on the pig butchering side. So it's great to see that this is ongoing, but not good to see that Russia is participating very heavily and still allowing these servers to operate inside their country. I just want to bring this article up, and Mike, if you want to bring up the screen. Jaguar Land Rover cyber attack cost the company over $220 million. So this has been ongoing since announced around September 2nd, forcing the cyber attack September 2nd, forcing the British car maker to shut down production at major plants and send its staff home. Follow-up statement confirmed that the data had been stolen during the cyber attack, which was claimed on Telegram by the cybercrime Scattered Lapsus. And so they took ownership of this and took credit for the attack, $220 million, and they could not make cars for a very long time. We're seeing an increase in the auto manufacturing attacks, especially in the manufacturing space. There are a lot of automobile manufacturers out there in the supply chain. In this particular case, they took their eyes right inside Jaguar itself. But just be advised, if you operate in that space, you work for a manufacturing plant, you work in IT or cyber in those spaces, Toyota, Hyundai, all the major car manufacturers, these plants are under high scrutiny, and they're being scanned very often. You may or may not know that. We're going to talk about that in the top 10 a little bit. But if I worked in that space, I would be hyper vigilant this time of year, especially with supply chain attacks, which are very common. Just a little bit more in the news. Logitech confirms data breach following Klopp extortion campaign. This is just, a lot of us buy Logitech stuff. So if you shared information with Logitech, just be aware. One of the websites that we recommend you go to a lot, which is Have I Been Pawned, is a great website to go to check and see if you've become vulnerable, if you've been a victim of some of these attacks. So we're gonna pull this. Well, I'm not gonna pull it up. Mikey, you can take that down while I work on it. So that's a great website to go to if you haven't seen it. Of course, it would also help if I could actually see the screen while I'm doing this. All right, now we can pull this back up. So this is a great website. You should visit this site as often as you can, maybe once a week, once a month. Type your email addresses in there. And this is a threat researcher that used to work for, or still works for Microsoft. There are almost 17 billion or 17 trillion accounts? I don't know, a lot. Billion, 17 billion accounts in his database. 924 pawn websites. So this is a great website to see. When you see a lot of these disclosures that come out, so whether it's Logitech or some of these organizations that get compromised and they steal that data and they post it to the dark web, this is a security researcher that gets a hold of that information and allows you to, in database form, allows you to just type in your website or your email address and see if you've been part of those compromises. So I highly recommend that you check that out. You can take that down, Micah. All right, so we're halfway through the show, and please ask your questions. Like and subscribe. Share this stream. We're happy to go over all of your questions. That's why we do this live. But while we're waiting on questions, as we enter the holidays, and I talked about this leading up to it a little bit, I want to go over the top 10 cybersecurity tips to protect your company over the holidays. And if you're an IT director, IT manager, even if you're small business owner, whatever, and you're watching this channel, these are some of my top 10 that if I were you, and I've lived that life. I was in cybersecurity for a while. I did IT for 15 years. I managed IT departments. So I know what's going on, and I know what you're up to and up against. So let's talk about it. Number one, lock down remote access and enforce MFA everywhere. If there's one thing that goes wrong, usually, is on the firewall, all it takes is one user who doesn't have multi-factor authentication assigned to their account. It's just, you've heard like the weak link, right? It only takes one. Make sure before you go on break during the holidays and before your staff gets thin, look at those accounts. Make sure you have every single account has MFA assigned to it. Hold on just one second. I have to multitask a little bit here too. All right. So require MFA for VPN, email. Go through your Microsoft 365. Go through your Google Workspace. Make sure that every single user has multi-factor. Make sure every VPN has multi-factor. Check your cloud apps. Remote monitoring tools. If you're using some type of remote management and monitoring tool. If you're an MSP, make sure that all of your technician accounts have multi-factor authentication. And then disable unused accounts before everyone leaves for break. So go through Active Directory, take a look at the accounts, and get rid of them. The next one, monitor 24/7, even if it's outsourced. Even if you outsource to a company like us, right? We have our own SOC. We do 24/7 monitoring, detection, and response for organizations globally. Make sure that you're watching logs. Make sure you're watching your endpoints. Alerts around the clock. Make sure you've got alerts maybe heading to a Slack channel or a Teams channel. Make sure that everybody in your team has good visibility to look to see if there's something going on, that they have access to see that something is happening. So look at those logs. Make sure that every endpoint is enabled and it's healthy. Make sure that it's not, if you're running EDR technology, make sure it's not in simulation mode. Make sure it's in enforce mode. And then just make sure that you've got visibility into alerts. And then I think number 3, one of the most popular things you can do is freeze high-risk IT changes. We see this very often, especially in the retail space as we get towards Christmas. The retail space makes a freeze where you can't make any more changes. So from sometimes beginning mid-October all the way through the end of the year, nothing's happening. No upgrades, no changes, no nothing. So implement a change freeze for production systems unless it's emergency patching. And then document who is on call for true emergencies. Make sure that if you work in IT, make sure you've got your coworkers' cell phone numbers and you have a good communication path to everyone in your team. Number 4, patch critical systems before the holiday spike. So this is a great opportunity to look at your firewalls, your servers, your endpoints. Make sure that you've got priority patching for VPN and remote access, the firewalls, domain controllers, multi-factor systems, email gateways, VPN gateways. And then patch some of these widely used systems like Chrome, Adobe, Zoom, Office. Just make sure that you've got priority patching, you have a good patching system to make sure that you can patch these systems very quickly during the holidays. And if there is a 0-day or an emergency patch, that you've got a method to do this. Harden your email and stop holiday-themed phishing. So attackers love Christmas gift card scams, fake shipping notices, HR policy updates. I would say one of the major things that goes wrong for organizations is that DMARC, DKIM, and SPF are not configured correctly. So I would be very careful I would look at your DNS environments. If you are not a DNS expert, make a call to a consultant company that can help you run through your DNS and make sure it's set up right. Communicate with your staff and to your users. Put quick last-minute phishing refresher to all staff this week. The holidays are great for online shopping, and you know that your employees are doing it anyway on the clock. So go ahead and take an opportunity to teach them about the latest scams, the latest techniques, teach them how to shop online safely, and make it rewarding for them, make it interesting for them, so that they're getting educated, and they're also getting some type of direction on how to shop online safely. Verify backups are working. Now this is number 6, and I would say the majority of the time we run into issues from a response capability perspective. Most users or companies think their backups are good, and they're not. So what happens is, so during a catastrophic attack and a ransomware attack, you may have to restore your entire organization. So every server, that's where it goes wrong. So you've tested individual worksheets and documents, and you've done like individual testing to verify that there are backups there and they work. But when an organization actually goes to restore the entire organization, that's when they find out that it's not working right. So take some time during the holidays, before the holidays, to run through a full restore of an entire system and make sure that you do have the capability, you understand your backup system, and also verify targets. We've noticed a lot that when they go to do the backups, they've forgotten the fact that 3 new servers came on 6 months ago, and they didn't update their backup system to go capture those backup targets. Number 7, enforce least privilege and remove dormant accounts. We kind of went over the dormant accounts towards the beginning, but enforce least privilege. Take those admin rights away from the users at the workstation. Macs are good at this out of the box, and it requires additional authentication to install software. All of our Windows devices and even servers, you should be logging in with user accounts on all these devices. IT workers should have escalation credentials. So if you need to log into a server and do work, you just log in as a user, do the work that you need to do. But if there's something you need to do that requires elevated privileges, you have a separate administrator account to do that. But if everyone today, even for their loved ones, for their home computers, if everyone just took the admin rights away just to operate it as a user, that would stop the majority of the issues and stops malware from propagating if it was to get on your device. Number 8, secure employee travel tech. We know travel technology, secure employee travel technology. I got to slow down a little bit. We know that employees and IT staff travel. So let's educate them on protecting those devices. Let's get them to encrypt using BitLocker on Windows devices and using the Mac encryption. Let's encrypt those devices, first of all, because if they become lost or stolen, we don't want any of that data that's on these local devices to be accessed. Let's educate them about no airport charging stations. So this juice jacking stuff that goes on. Let's educate them on using VPNs and using public Wi-Fi. Make sure that employees have some type of VPN. And if you're operating personal devices, make sure that you have a VPN like Malwarebytes or NordVPN. These devices those are examples of software VPNs that are consumer level.
We've got a question.
Okay. And then never leave laptops in cars or hotel rooms unsecured. So let's go to the question before we hit 9 and 10.
All right. Am I unmuted? Can they hear me?
Yeah, you're unmuted.
Okay, cool. All right. Timmy Clifton says, with so many tools using AI now, how do we make sure the developers have addressed privacy and security concerns? It seems like a lot of these tools can have sensitive data that AI might have access to.
Yeah, that's a good question, Timmy, and good to hear from you. We're in the Wild Wild West right now with AI, and there's a lot of problems going on with things like ChatGPT and a lot of these AI tools, Gen AI tools, that have access and allow users to connect to other services like GitHub or Zapier or Outlook. And hopefully I'm answering your question correctly. There's a lot of education and communication that needs to go on, both from an end user perspective and developers as well. From a developer standpoint, there's OWASP, OWASP. OWASP is supposed to give developers that development guidance that talks about hardening code, doing secure coding, and those types of things. What I don't know is if they've updated OWASP to include developers accessing and developing on AI platforms. I want to suspect that that's probably been addressed or is being addressed. But for right now, it's very much a communication issue, Timmy. I would communicate very heavily with the software providers that you're working with and making sure and getting them to disclose, quite honestly, what their coding practices are, and that they are following some type of structured coding protocol. If that answers your question. If it doesn't, go ahead and put more in there. So monitoring financial systems for fraud. So December is prime time for wire fraud, invoice fraud, gift card scams, payroll redirects. Require any type of change like that to be voice verified. And yes, I know we can have a completely separate conversation about deep fakes and all the voice changers and those types of things. But at least for right now, require voice verification for all wire transfers and financial changes. Interesting tip. So on this topic, we do have a customer that I would consider way more security-centric and aware than they think they are. There is an opportunity for on the voice changer side, just for everybody that's talking about deepfakes. What if you used something like a 1Password that you were able to generate a one-time code, and I think you can actually do this in Authenticator too, so that when you're talking to somebody, you pull up the authentication code that you both have access to, and you make them repeat what that code is. That would solve the voice verification process issue where you think it's that person, but somebody's using some type of deep fake technology, because you can get my voice today because I'm doing this. So think about that. Think about using authentication systems for one-time passwords, OTP systems like Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, 1Password, to generate a code that only you and somebody else have access to. That would solve that problem. And then something that we recommend very often, freezing vendor and banking charges until January, unless verified via dual control. So we always recommend freezing your credit and making sure that that's done, especially as we enter the holidays. And that's easy to do by contacting all 3 credit bureaus. And then number 10, have an incident response plan ready. If you're an organization, and I don't care how big or small you are, 1 person, 10 people, 1,000 people, have a plan. Have an incident response plan. Who gets called first? Who makes decisions? How do you isolate? Can you isolate compromised systems? Keep key contacts. Like, do you have a managed service security service provider like ourselves, like an MSSP? Forensics, legal team, cyber insurance, and run through that check with cyber insurance. I would call your agent, check your policy. Is it up to date? Does it have a cybersecurity rider on it? These are all the times to take a look at your plan, make sure that you have phone calls for federal law enforcement, and start drilling for it. So, Thanksgiving is next week, but we've got this weekend. It's Friday. And maybe for the rest of the afternoon, maybe take an hour, after the stream, take your staff out for pizza, and then just sit down and talk about what an attack looks like and how you're going to respond. That's key. And then call your insurance company, please, and talk to them about the claims process and how that works. I think that would benefit all of you a lot if you were able to go through that scenario before you have to do it for real. All right, so that's the end of my content, and I don't see any more questions. So please, first, thank you for attending. Thank you for all the questions. Thanks, Timmy. It's good to hear from you again. We do this every it's going to be every Thursday, and there's a reason for that. So we have access to more staff on Thursday than we do on Friday. So we're probably going to move this up very soon to every Thursday, and we'll do the same thing. We go through the headlines, answer your questions. And then this is recorded out there for you to use at any time. So thank you for attending. I appreciate your time. And hey, let's be careful out there.